Think about your self-image like it is the core of an onion and there are all these layers outside of it. You can try to change the outside layers, like your habits, for example. But if you are trying to change a habit and you haven't changed your self-image first, that is why you keep failing. You haven't changed your self-image yet. You have not changed how you see yourself yet. That is what magnetized certain opportunities and people towards me. That is how I have been able to feel confident in certain decisions that I make. It's because that self-image came first before the thing manifested.
Mimi, welcome to the Earn Your Happy podcast. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, Lori. I'm so happy to be here.
You know, we were just chatting before this, and I told you this is perfect timing for my life and perfect timing for the podcast listeners, because I think the last 3 or 4 solo episodes that I've done are all about visualization, manifesting, and I don't necessarily have tools for them. So this is the most perfect timing because you are kind of the queen of helping people create what they want in their lives. We're going to deep dive today, you guys. We're not just going to talk about manifesting, visualization, meditation, all the tools and tricks, but you're going to walk away with actual tangible activations. And we're going to talk about that. So Mimi, how, if you could share a little bit about what you do right now, what your app is that I'm so excited about, and then just what got you into that in the beginning.
Absolutely. So my journey started about a decade ago. I was getting really into personal development after going through a pretty tough period in my life. I was at a point where I didn't really recognize myself when I was looking in the mirror. I had a deep amount of self-hatred. I hated how I looked, how I felt. I didn't like who I was becoming. And that's when I found personal development, and it really did save me at the time. So I became addicted to it because the more work that I did on myself, the more that I read about how my potential is limitless in this world, the more that I researched how we could actually be the creator of our lives, that we are 100% responsible for our lives. And here's why. When I looked into the neuroscience behind how visualization worked and how you can actually train your brain to be different, your thoughts to be different, the more that I dived into this work, the better I felt, right? So I went from being very unhappy in every aspect of my life. There was nothing really going for me at that time. And then I did the work and I got really into this personal development work about a decade ago. So that's kind of the beginning stages. I dived into it. I became kind of obsessed with it.
For people listening, because I think what does that, where exactly emotionally were you at? What were you feeling every day? Was there something specifically that was going on that was holy shit, this needs to change. I have to change my reality. What did that look like for you?
A lot of shame and anxiety and self-hatred. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I, at one point, had under $10 in my bank account. I was trying to hustle, trying to make my dreams a reality. I wanted more. I wanted a bigger life. And there was this feeling of stuckness because I knew deep down that I could create something different for myself, but I just wasn't doing it. And I kept doing the things that I knew were bad for me, drinking a lot, doing drugs, not treating myself with respect. I also just had deep confidence issues. I felt very unsure of myself. I allowed other people to really just dictate a lot in my life. And I didn't feel healthy from a physical standpoint. I was 30 pounds heavier and just didn't like how I felt in my body, felt very puffy all the time. I didn't have any relationship. I had never had a relationship at that point in my life. And I was, really yearning for love in my life. I felt very alone. The friends that I had didn't feel real. Kind of every area, to be totally honest with you, was not great. I also was struggling with eating disorder and just really not liking myself through and through. So I was numbing out. I was on my phone a lot. I was numbing out with food. I was numbing out with drinking and drugs. I just, was in this place where nothing was going right. And so I went through this radical change. And it started, like I mentioned, reading books, just absorbing everything that I could about this work and seeing that light at the end of the tunnel. And I always had that voice deep inside of me that I believe every single person has, everyone listening has that little voice of what if life could be better? What if I could experience more? What if I could actually do that thing and live this type of existence, my one chance at life, my one opportunity on this beautiful earth as a human? How, like, what if I could actually live this amazing existence? So that voice got louder and louder the more clear I got, the less numb that I felt. And this just happened
Mhm.
gradually with me starting to prioritize myself more. And listen, it wasn't this overnight. I had an epiphany and I changed. It wasn't that, because if it was going to be that, I would have waited forever. It had to be these small incremental changes every day, right? But
Mhm.
the longer that I went through this journey, the more that I saw what was working and what I actually saw tangible results from, and what was not working, the things that I would do. And I'm like, oh, I don't feel any different. Nothing is changing. So I think, due to my obsession with trying to find shortcuts and trying to get things done quickly, and, I'm very impatient just as a person. I think that benefited me in the sense because I actually started to figure out what worked in transformation, in total life transformation, and what didn't work. So
Mm.
I gathered all the information that I absorbed from, those mentors, those books, those seminars, those, all of those unlimited pieces of, educational content that I consumed online at the time. And I still have a very, a huge interest in, the science of it all, the neuroscience of it all, the quantum physics theories to support, all of this manifestation work. I'm very interested in all of it. And I actually just released a book a couple months ago with Hay House called Activate Your Future Self. And that is so much research that I've gathered over the years in one book. So I'm kind of obsessed with understanding why and figuring out the best, easiest way to get there. So long story short, I started doing all the things. Okay. I did what all those specialists, mentors, teachers told me to do to change my life. And a lot of it started to, really work, slowly but surely. I started journaling more. I started, clearing up my friendship circle and realizing I'm an average of the five people I surround myself with most. I started to go out less, drink less, and be more introspective and spend a lot more time alone. And journaling was actually a big part of this at the time. And then I, tried to meditate. That was one of the things everyone says that you should do is meditate.
Mhm.
And I just couldn't stick to it. That was the one thing that I felt a lot of resistance, with this meditation. And listen, I know meditation is good for you if you want to calm your nervous system and clear your thoughts and feel at peace. And that's great. But that's not really what I was seeking at the
Mhm.
time. What I was seeking is something energizing, something invigorating, something that made me feel that morsel of inspiration when I'd listen to that little gut feeling inside of me. It'd come in a fleeting moment and then it'd fall away and that inspiration would dwindle. I wanted to bottle up that feeling of like inspiration and excitement towards my future. And I wasn't really getting that with meditation. I also felt it was very hard to sit and close my eyes for 20 minutes and sit still and, try to clear my head. Like it didn't make sense to me. Why am I trying to do this? I'm trying to radically transform my life. This is what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to get out of being broke. I'm trying to improve my relationship with myself, like find love, like be my best self, create a successful career for myself. I didn't see how calming my mind was going to help me get there. But then I was reading a lot about visualization and about how, our brains are able to be rewired, neural pathways are able to be, reset. And so I wanted to get the benefits of an audio that would help me feel a certain way and rewire my mind. And once I, decided, what, meditation's just not working for me, I intuitively took out my phone one day. And this was about 8 years ago. I took out my phone and I opened the voice memo app on my phone. And I recorded my first, little did I know it was going to be called an activation, but I recorded my first activation on my voice memos. And this was a visualization focused, motivational audio describing my future, getting myself into the energy of my future self, mixed with, just deep inspirational words. And then I'd also layer in music. I brought that audio to GarageBand and I started getting obsessed with inspirational cinematic music because we all know that music just has a way at changing our state, right? So
Mm.
I started to layer in this inspiring music and then I create like five of these and then I get bored of them and I wanted to create more. So I literally had a library of dozens of these because you kind of get bored of them quickly. You want to just listen to new, fresh
Mhm.
content sometimes. But I'd listen to these audios in everyday moments. Okay. This is just my personal transformation tool. I didn't really share with anyone. I'd listen to these audios when I was on the bus going to one of my four jobs at the time. I would listen to these audios cooking dinner in my tiny 200 square foot studio apartment. I would listen to these audios in the morning when I was getting ready. And I'm telling you, Lori, if you're looking at this like a graph, the bell curve of how quickly my life started to transform when I started listening to these activations, it was insane. It was like this exponential growth. And I had been working on myself for a couple years, before that point, before I started activating. But really the stark difference was just surreal. And then years later, I decided, I'm just going to share a few of these, make them more general and share them with the world. And that's kind of how I'm where I am today. I launched activations out 4 years ago and it's been insane the growth that we've seen. I've never done any traditional marketing. It's been word of mouth, people telling people they've tried it and it's changed their lives. We have like tens of thousands of success stories. So it's definitely been something I think a lot of us needed, something that we could habit stack, a new type of audio that's cinematic, that's motivational, that makes you feel like you're the main character in your own movie. And that's when I created activations. And you can't really find anything like it anywhere else.
Oh my God, we have a scary similar story.
What?
Like scary. So, well, when I was younger, I was really into just, yeah, all the things, alcohol, drugs, really bad friendship circle. And I kind of started doing the same thing, books, courses, lectures. I went to an event in 2014 by Jack Canfield, and he taught us how to do that, record our own like an activation, but a visualization. You just call
I'm
them
obsessed with Jack
visualizations.
Canfield. My first personal development book that I read was The Success Principles.
Yeah, I went to that event. So I went to train the
Wow.
trainer. So it was a 3-week training. And
Love
this
it.
really started this journey of, you guys, I can attest to everything she's saying. And, while I've done this for programs and recorded some for myself, I love that you've gone all in because the world needs it more than ever, because it is truly what changed my life as well. So
Wow.
I can sit here and say everything she's saying is so important, because I had started trying to do the same thing. Like, I started meditating, and while I hit a really good streak for about a year, like 20 minutes a
Mhm.
day, I got certified in transcendental
Yeah.
meditation. I'm a mover. Like, I'm a
Yeah.
runner, I'm super active. I've been a fitness girl my entire life. And so for me, it wasn't until I started running, you know, 3, 4 times a week. And I'd run for like 6 miles 3 or 4 times a week. And I would listen to like a lecture, or that's when I like did the Jack Canfield thing and would record some different things and play it back to myself. And I feel like that is when you just get lit up. Like, it
Yes.
gets into your cells. I believe moving with a quote unquote meditation, and why I love you're doing activations
Yeah.
is truly, we'll talk about that particular word as well. But when people have asked what has changed my life, it is because I go out and I move with something in my ears where I am
Mhm.
picturing my life specifically on something. And so I know we're going to talk about so many things, but this is why I love your app so much, is because you got really, really specific about different activities. It's like, listen to this, activation while you're cleaning your house for X, Y, and Z. And so I'll talk about exact titles, but you get so specific with every little moment in your life. You can be listening to these different things. And I'm just going to preach for a minute, because it's like we need to be putting these thoughts in our head as much as possible, because otherwise the world, social media, Netflix, like whatever you're watching, it's going to try to get you down. It's going to try to sidetrack you. It's going to try to break your energy, pull you out of that energy. It is not easy to stay in that high vibration. And since I've really been doing this, even in the last month, again, I'm back in it because I got a little bit away from it. I am like a fucking magnet, like truly.
Yes. Yes,
So
you are.
I think you
Yes.
need to plug this in. And so that brings me to my question. Like, let's really get into like activations. Like, what exactly are they? Why are they different from meditations? From just like sitting there. What does it actually do? What's kind of the science behind it?
Yeah, absolutely. So activations are a new type of audio that I've developed. They're not a podcast, not a meditation, not just music. It's a new category of sound. And this category of sound is personal development, manifestation, visualization, turned all the way up in packaged in a way that makes it so accessible. I'm a big habit stacker. I'm like always doing 5 things at a time. And that's actually originally why I couldn't stick to meditation because I was
Totally.
trying to
Same.
think of 100 things and I thought I was failing at that. But little did I know that was actually one of the gifts that I have is I'm able to, do a ton of things at once and think in a different way. And when I started to just lean into that benefiting me and not being something I should be ashamed of, everything started to change. So,
Love that.
traditional meditation is about calming the mind. And then you have visualization, which is just a term. You can do visualization while you're writing and journaling. And visualization you can do anywhere, anytime, but activations really brings and heightens this visualization, brain rewiring component alongside the very powerful music that we use. And this changes your energy, changes your state very quickly, all together into an activation. So, activations are the opposite to meditation. They're energizing. You listen while you're running errands, while you're doing your makeup in the morning, while you're walking. The walking activations are my absolute favorite. The cooking ones, there's a jazzy activation for while you're cooking after a long day when you just want to reconnect to your best self. Every activation in the app, and we have over 700 activations in the app at this point, every single one is designed to have you change your state by the end of it. So you feel the results quickly. With me in meditation, I definitely see how meditation over time, like you did it for a year, I'm sure over time you see a big difference, but
Mhm.
I never saw a difference immediately. And I'm impatient, remember? Like I wanted the quick change. So activation immediate, like it makes you feel different immediately. And that is largely in part 50% of the equation, other than the guided visualization and words that we use in the audios. 50% of the equation is the music that we use. And I've sourced globally some of the best TV and movie composers that there are. I'm talking people that are like the next Hans Zimmer, like serious, incredible, incredible artists that literally design and create this music to make you feel like you are transforming. And this is instructing your brain subconsciously, telling yourself, I am in the midst of a transformation. I am becoming my future self. I am already my future self when you listen to this music. All it takes is just one activation to change your state like crazy. You actually feel like the main character of your life. And it doesn't take any extra time. This is simple. It's almost effortless just to listen in the background. And I even say that even if you're not consciously listening to the words, it's still getting into your subconscious. And the quality of these, I think, also sticks out when it comes to an audio platform. I'm quite a perfectionist when it comes to creating these audios. As I've mentioned, I'm sourcing these, amazing composers globally around the world, and my audio engineers and I spend a lot of time putting together the tracks and putting together the visualizations. And the moment that a song drops, saying a certain word to make you feel a certain way. I am very obsessed with this cinematic experience, and I think that also is one of the big things that makes us stand apart. Everything has to feel cinematic. I want everyone listening to feel like they're the main character in their life. I can get into the science behind why this helps you transform as well, but I'll stop there and, just say that you use activations like you listen to a podcast. Like when I'm in the mood to listen to a podcast, I listen to a podcast. I'm in the mood to learn and actually like be quite engaged, in my brain. Like I want to learn something. I want to tangibly hear, conversation, right? And then I listen to music when I'm in a certain mood too. Maybe I just don't want any voice and I just want something to tune out to. Maybe it's a certain workout and I just really need to tune out. And then I listen to an audiobook when I'm in another mood. And then I listen to an activation when I'm in the mood to shift my energy and feel really alive and invigorated. And that could be in any moment of the day. If I didn't have time to journal one morning, because I like to journal a lot, I'll listen to an activation while I'm getting ready. And then I feel the same results, if not more. So this is really something that you can use with your day. You can habit stack it. You don't have to carve out time from your day. We're already all so busy. So a lot of our users just use this in their daily life. They listen to one in the background once a day, 3 times a week, and they feel the shift. And it's really created a notable difference in tens of thousands of women's lives.
I think one of the biggest things that you said that is the easiest thing that people can do, and whether you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I don't know if that works, it works, because what happens is when you are deciding what you're going to be thinking about for the day, that is what you're focused on. And that's what you start seeing. Like you're going to start seeing possibility rather than if I wake up and I'm thinking of what I need to do that day and what's going wrong and what is scary about the world. I literally get more of that. If I have a big to-do list in my head, guess how I'm going to feel all day? Like I'm never going to get it done. And that's the energy that I'm in, is like this pressure, this like there's not enough time. How am I going to get this done? Oh my gosh, the world is so scary. Like this is generally what I would say majority of the population is walking around with. And they wonder why they have no energy to make anything happen. Because if your brain is focused on negative things, like your energy is so low. Because I used to do this to my clients in the gym, Mimi, which is like so perfect for you to know that this is like so awesome and this works. So I would be like asking when I owned a gym, I would have them like be curling something heavy. I would have them with like an uncomfortable weight. And I'd be like, okay, I want you to think the most positive thought, like something awesome in your life, like something that's going to happen, something amazing while you're curling that weight. And I'm like, how's it feel? They're like, oh, pretty good. I mean, it's really heavy. But then I would say, okay, I want you to think of something super sad, something really negative, something, and they would stop lifting. They're like, I can't even lift this. Like, I feel so down. Like, they're like, I literally feel like I can't even lift this anymore. And I'm like, that is literally the power of our thoughts. Like you can
Yeah.
either feel like things are very doable, very tolerable, or when you're thinking negative, nothing in your life is going to feel tolerable. And that's why if you don't have people or friends in your life, like I didn't in the beginning, I paid for them, whether it was a lecture, an app, an event, or podcast, whatever, an audio book. I was like, I need other people to be filling in my brain right now while I am choosing, if I was left up to my own devices, I'm choosing negative thoughts. So this is why, you guys, it's so cool. Like this morning, while I was putting my makeup on, Mimi, I listened to Set Goals for Your Day and Feel Inspired, and which is one of our activations. And what I loved is that you were asking me, like getting me intentionally into a place of like, what would be like the most important thing for me to do today, essentially, like what would move the needle the most for like what I want. And I was like, that's such a great intentional question that I think we forget to ask ourselves because we get so caught up in like the mundane and things we have to do. So this is the type of thing, you guys, that you'll be experiencing if you do it. It's just questions we should be asking ourselves and kind of like that refocusing. So who do you think activations are really for?
Well, a lot of our users are in a place in their life where they might be going through a transition or they're feeling stuck. A lot of our users come when they're feeling stuck, like they feel like there's more to some area of their life. Listen, we have some users that come and try to, change a complete 180 every aspect of their life. But we also have users that live a pretty good life and they're pretty grateful for the life that they live, but they just want to feel more alive every day, or they just want to feel a bit more connected to themselves, or they just want to be a bit happier in their day-to-day life. We have a lot of success stories with people that have used the app. And some of my favorites are actually in my book, but I can share one of them with you. So we have this one woman named Allie that was using the app, and she is a teacher, middle school teacher. And she, had been pretty much making the same amount of money for years now. And, teachers don't get paid enough. She was not making a ton of money, and she was pretty stressed about the amount that she was making. making. So she wanted to create more wealth in her life. And she actually heard me on a podcast a couple of years ago, because I do a lot of these. And she decided, you know what? I am going to just listen to these activations and take advantage of the 2 week trial. And I'm just going to go all in. What do I have to lose? So she downloaded the app, went to the website to download the app. And I know, just before I finish this story, you have a special link if everyone here wants to try the app for 2 weeks completely free, plus a massive discount on the yearly if you want to stay subscribed. So that's activations.com/happy. And by the way, we can only offer discounts on the website, not the app store. So go to the website first to get the trial, and then you can download the app after. But so Allie basically did the same thing. She heard me on a podcast, went to the website, signed up, got the 2 week free trial, went to the app store, downloaded the app, and then she just started listening probably once a day or 5 days a week. She would just listen to these activations. A lot of the time it was the money focused ones. We have a lot of manifesting money and wealth and getting into your abundant energy activations. It's a really big category in the app, because money is one of those things that you can really tune into with a new frequency. And we can get into that later, and the actual science behind how our biofields, the energy inside and around us, actually attract like energy, and how we can become the type of person that actually has a certain level of wealth, that experiences wealth in a different way with our self-image. So going back to the point though. So Allie, she was listening to these activations in this 2 week free trial, and she started feeling very different after listening, just in the background of her life. I think she listened in the car while she was driving to work. I think she'd listened to the anytime category then, and maybe at night, while she was getting ready for bed. And it was just very casual. She didn't think much of it. It wasn't, big deal, but she would listen to these. Okay. And soon enough, she got this crazy random offer. Okay. One of her old students came to her with this like consulting gig, and she basically doubled her income just from this one opportunity. And she doesn't think it's a coincidence that it was because she started doing this work and really tuning in and resetting her frequency. And to say the least, she's been subscribed for many years, and she will be a forever subscriber. She also just said that she felt completely different, after using this for 2 weeks. And at the end of the day, we live one life. We want to feel good. Our lives are, we feel like they're so long and big, and they are, but the reality is that our life is actually made up of the moment that we're in right now. In this exact moment, we are not experiencing the past or the future. We're only ever living in the moment. So the quality of those moments is everything. So even if, Allie didn't manifest this crazy opportunity that doubled her income that year, she says that she still loves to use this because it just makes her feel good. So I love that you listened to the getting ready one this morning. It just changes your state. I feel so passionate about this because for so long I felt so lost, and for so long I felt like a shell of myself, and I felt really sad that I wasn't reaching my potential in life. And it really scared me to wake up one morning when I'm, 85 years old, and look back on my life and feel regret, because that like connection with how short life is really started to get to me at that point in my life, and it really started to scare me. So really just doing everything I could to tune into that potential to create the life of my dreams, and to now hear how this work has helped so many people feel the same. Like, that's the biggest why for me, Lori. Honestly, it's like we should all have the gift of feeling good every day. I just want to feel good. This is what this work is about. It's about feeling good and creating a beautiful future for yourself.
Mm.
And that shift internally really exudes externally with your energy, your biofield. I write about this in my book. We all have biofields, or energy fields, some people call them, that span about 3 to 6 meters around us. And this is measured by science. Like, you can measure biofields, and our biofields are made up of energy, and it comes from us. We are the source of this energy. And there are so many things to prove that this work works, that this work of changing your beliefs, of really putting yourself out there and listening to new things and thinking new thoughts and designing a new self-image. There is literally proof everywhere that this works. I like to say this quote. I don't know where it's from. I haven't been able to source it, but I heard it somewhere. And it says something like, spiritualists will call it the law of attraction. Christians will call it prayer. Atheists will call it the placebo effect. Scientists will call it quantum physics. It's literally the same thing in different languages. And personally, I don't know exactly what I even believe in. I'm kind of open to all potentials, but all I know is that there is the truth in between all of that, the same thing in different languages. And I've seen firsthand how it's transformed my life and thousands of others of lives that I've seen kind of through this work over time. And it's a really good time to start now.
You know how much sleep affects everything from your mood, your energy, and you hear me talk about this with skin all the time. But let's be really honest, unwinding at night for entrepreneurs and anyone who's listening to this podcast is probably pretty challenging because we love to replay the day and think of our big goals and all of the things that we want and need to be doing the next day. That's why my nighttime routine has become a non-negotiable. It's become super sacred to me. And I've been using Osea products, and their Dream Collection has completely up-leveled how I wind down at night. Their Dream Night Serum and their Dream Night Cream are clinically tested formulas powered by bioretinol, and they're designed to reduce the visible effects of stress on your skin while you sleep, which I really need right now. I wake up feeling like my skin actually got to rest. It feels softer, it feels smoother, and it feels really nourished. And as someone who struggles with really dry skin, I love how rich and creamy these feel without being heavy. So my nightly wind down ritual isn't just about skincare. It's about creating a sense of serenity at the end of the day. So it's choosing products that work while you sleep. And this helps me slow down, settle in, and take care of myself, because skincare really is self-care. And I am also obsessed with the scent of these. And I'm excited to share that Osea just launched their newest product in the Dream Collection, the Dream Bioretinol Body Serum, which is a full body overnight treatment that visibly de-stresses the skin with a blend of bioretinol, red seaweed, magnesium, and lavender, which is why I love the smell. It helps reduce visible dryness and dullness, improves elasticity, and leaves your skin feeling softer and smoother by the morning. This is absolutely becoming a core part of my body care routine in 2026. So give your skin a rest with clean, clinically tested skincare from Osea. And right now we have a special discount just for our listeners. Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code EARN at OseaMalibu.com. That's OSEAMALIBU.com. There are so many challenges to business that I don't want starting to be one of them for you. And when you want more, when you're starting a business, you need Northwest Registered Agent, because you get access to thousands of free guides, tools, and legal forms to help you launch and protect your business. And it's all in one place. You can build your complete business identity with Northwest today. Northwest Registered Agent has been helping small business owners and entrepreneurs launch and grow business for nearly 30 years. They're the largest registered agent and LLC service in the US, with over 1,500 corporate guides, real people who know your local laws and can help you and your business every step of the way. You can sign up for free account to begin managing your business hub with lawyer drafted operating agreements, bylaws, resolutions, membership certificates, bills of sale, and more at no cost. Northwest makes life easy for business owners. They don't just help you form your business, they give you the free tools you need after you form it, like operating agreements, meeting minutes, and thousands of how-to guides that explain the complicated ins and outs of running a business. And let me tell you, this is life-changing because I had no idea how much went into this. So don't wait, protect your privacy, build your brand, and get your complete business identity in just 10 clicks and 10 minutes. Visit www.northwestregisteredagent.com/earn free and start building something amazing. Get more with Northwest Registered Agent at www.northwestregisteredagent.com/earn free. 2026 is the year that you launch your business. It's the year that you've become the boss, you become the leader. That idea that you have that has been eating at you forever, that just will not leave you alone, is going to come to life. Maybe it's something that someone tells you you should always sell, or a store you've already designed in your head. And with Shopify, 2026 is when you finally make it happen. Shopify gives you everything you need to sell online and in person. Millions of entrepreneurs have already made this leap from household name to first-time business owners just getting started. You guys, I use Shopify for Glossy, and I remember when they sent me my little shopping bag celebrating my 10,000 sales, and I literally cried because I was so scared to take the leap, and I'm so glad that I did and that I use Shopify. It gives you all the tools to easily build your dream store. You can choose from hundreds of beautiful templates that you can customize to match your brand. Setup is fast with Shopify's built-in AI tools that write product descriptions and headlines and help you edit photos. So marketing is built in too. You can create email and social campaigns that reach customers wherever they scroll. So as you grow, Shopify grows with you. You can handle more orders, expand to new markets, and do it all from the same dashboard. In 2026, stop waiting and start selling with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/happy. Go to shopify.com/happy. That's shopify.com/happy. Hear your first cha-ching this new year with Shopify by your side. I feel like if we're even breaking it down at like the most basic level for like skeptical people, which I think most people who listen to my podcast aren't, but for anybody who's just like, okay, how does this work? I want you to think about a time when you have been in a room and someone walks in and they're just like super outgoing. They're looking up, their body language is super open, their arms aren't crossed, they look like they want to talk to you, they're armed with questions that are amazing or a story. Like you're like, whoa, how do some people just have it? Like, a woman walks in and you're like, whoa, what is that? What that is someone who's done a lot of work to feel confident, to feel certain, to like be exuding that energy. And on the most basic level, even talking about like, if you were an employer, I'm now an employer. It's like, I want to work with the person who's enthusiastic, who's looking up, who's open, who has that great energy, who's like confident in what they do. And this is all work that is done by what we're talking about. Like, you have to be thinking of what you want. You have to be thinking of who you want to be. You have to be visualizing that future self. And if we had to pick who we wanted to hang out with, who we wanted to hire, who we wanted in our circles, we would pick the people who are doing work like this mentally. Like, they're not thinking negative thoughts. They're not thinking of what they don't want in their life. So this is really helping you become that person who, quote unquote, becomes a magnet. And you're like, oh, why do they want to work with these people? That's why.
And the biggest thing is actually the trick to all of this and simplifying the art of transformation. It all comes down to being the person you want to be now, before the things that you want materialize into real world actual experiences. So the whole, basis behind the work that I do, the work that I teach, activations, it's all about training your self-image to be different. It's all about reprogramming your identity to be the future self now. That is all that it is. These activations help you live your future now. They help you step into your future self in this exact moment in time. And when you do that, everything in your life starts to change, because it all starts when your self-image, your identity changes. Think about your self-image like it is the core of an onion, and there are all these layers outside of it. You can try to change the outside layers, like your habits, for example. But if you are trying to change a habit and you haven't changed your self-image first, that is why you keep failing and you're not being consistent with that habit. It's because you haven't gone to the root yet. You haven't changed your self-image yet. You have not changed how you see yourself yet. And that's what so many people get wrong. And that's why personal development and transformation gets so overcomplicated. I wish more people knew this. It's all about just changing your self-image first. And I can give a very simple example. If you see yourself as the type of person who lives in a very fit, healthy body, okay, let's say, for me, I used to hate working out. Now I love to go to my Pilates classes and I love to take care of my body. I really, really see myself as the type of person that lives in a body that is happy and healthy and looks and feels a certain way, to be totally honest. So for me, when I book in, my Pilates class or decide to eat something healthy at a restaurant, it comes naturally to me. There's no resistance in my mind thinking, oh, I really sometimes, of course, I don't feel as inspired or motivated, but my baseline is like, oh yeah, this is just what I do. It's how I treat myself. It's who I am, right? And the same thing would happen. I'm not a runner, but if I wanted to be, I would change my self-image first before starting to be a runner. A runner would feel weird in the morning when they don't run. Like, you feel weird when you don't do that thing. Whereas someone someone who does not identify as a runner feels like it's really hard to go put your running shoes on in the morning and go for a run. The same thing goes when it comes to finances and career. I have seen firsthand what your self image can do to your income. And let me tell
Mhm.
you, it is everything. It is literally everything. I walk into a room now and I feel very confident in the level of success that I've achieved. And therefore, even before I achieved this level, by the way, I embodied this essence. And that is what created more of that into my life. That is what, magnetized certain opportunities and people towards me. That is how I have been able to feel confident in certain decisions that I make and hiring certain people and making these big moves. It's because that self image came first before the thing manifested. So the self image is massive. And if we want to stay
Mhm.
on the topic of simplifying and transformation, I can tell you my 2-step process to transformation.
Yeah, go for it.
So I like the quick route. I like the shortcut. I like change to be effortless. Listen, I am the type of person that wants the quick route, that wants it now, that is impatient. And this is what I have found to be true. If you want to condense any personal development book you've ever read, or any, esoteric book you read, any scientific book you ever read about personal transformation, it comes down to these 2 steps. The first step is clarity. To create your dream life, you must get crystal clear on who your future self is. You must get crystal clear on her frequency, on how it feels to be her energetically in your body. You need to know what it's like to be her now, just in your body, physically, energetically, because your energy becomes a magnet to what it exudes, right? So clarity is number one. And the step number two is becoming. You must then become your future self in everyday moments, in the boring, mundane moments in your life, when you're waiting in line at the grocery store, when you're walking your dog in the morning. You need to just consistently show up as her in her energy. And that is exactly precisely what activations help you do. They help you rewire your brain in these everyday moments. Be your future self in your 5-minute walk with your dog in the morning, when you're putting on your makeup, when you're getting ready to go out, like in those everyday little moments, when you are embodying your future self energy, you're taking advantage of classical conditioning. We've all heard of the Pavlov dog theory. Pavlov rings the bell, the dog salivates. Classical conditioning, pairing a new thought or a new action with a certain thought and putting them together and getting a visceral response in your body. So you can actually do that when you listen to activations. That's what they're designed to do. It's literally designed to hack transformation. And it is so amazing that this exists because it makes it more effortless and more simple than ever before. So that is the trick. Clarity number one. You have to get clear first. If you don't know where you're going, you have to just stop everything and start getting clear. That is all you need to do is step one. And step two is become your future self in everyday moments. And that is the trick. And I'm telling you, when I use this combination in areas of my life, things happen fast. Things happen so fast. My life, this success that I've experienced, shouldn't have happened, Lori. And I pinch myself every day looking at this life. It shouldn't have happened. I'm 28 years old. I have a business worth 40 to 50 million dollars. I am living my dream life. I have 2 homes. I live between London and the Bahamas. I am in a beautiful relationship and I'm getting married next month. I feel like I have it all. My health is there. The people that I love, I have beautiful relationships with. I genuinely feel like this life it shouldn't have happened. It was all too crazy, too quick. And all I did that was consistent in this time was do this work. I changed my self image. I chose that I was going to be this type of person. I came from that place of not having anything, of not having that support from family. I come from 2 struggling artist parents. I love them, bless them, but I didn't come for money. I created this fully myself. And I am dedicated for the rest of my life to teaching people, how to do the same thing, because I'm not special. It shouldn't have happened to me. Anyone can do this. Anyone can create this dream life. And it starts with your energy and it's so accessible. You don't even need to download activations if you don't want to. Don't do it if you don't want to. Do it yourself. Commit to yourself every day. Start journaling, writing down, getting clear on what you want. You can record your own voice memos. If you feel like it gets repetitive or boring, or you want something that's already done for you, then you can try the 2-week free trial, but you don't need to download the app to see these results. You can just do it yourself and try and put yourself first, and really just start to cultivate that relationship with yourself. And yeah, I think I've been going on a tangent for a while.
I think
there.
what's so great about it too is I'm just thinking about, when I've now done like, oh my gosh, I think I have over 1,400 episodes, 1,400 episodes of this
Wow.
podcast. And I've gotten to talk to the most incredible, successful people. And, a lot of the people who I would say like really became unstoppable and just had insane businesses, they had somebody who breathed life into them. Like
Mm.
they eventually got a mentor, or some of them had parents who were just like, telling them every single day what was possible and like breathing life into them. And I think for those of us who maybe did not have that, this is a version of that. Like you need something that breathes life into you every day and reminds you of who the fuck you are, literally. And I'm so passionate about that, Mimi. Like I literally put out a secret podcast like with that, saying like everything, like literally everything you're saying, because you have to have something that you can cling on to, that you can go to every single day to go and breathe life into you. And what I love about your app is that you have so many different, like I was actually blown away. I was like, this girl has been recording. Like, has she done anything else besides record these activations? There's 700, right? Over
Yeah,
700.
there is a lot. That's pretty much all I do.
Yeah, but you
My
can,
passion. But listen, as a business owner, I don't like doing the operational stuff. Like
yeah,
I'm more of like the visionary. Like I like to create. I'm more create. Like I don't like I hire amazing people to do the rest. And at the beginning, listen, I wasn't able to hire the people to do the rest. So I had to go through times where I didn't like what I was doing, and that's okay too. It's part of the process. But yes, the recording is my art. It is literally, and the creation of these activations, because I do them for myself. That's the thing. I create them for myself. I listen to these every day. So selfishly, I want them to be perfect. You know what I mean? But I want to reiterate something here, because I know I mentioned, the transformation that I've seen, especially financially in my life, but I'm thinking about how who I'm speaking to right now and the audience I'm speaking to. I know there are a lot of insanely motivated women listening to this podcast, but I also just want to say that a successful life doesn't necessarily mean having tens of millions of dollars. If that's what
totally.
you want, just know that you can create it. For me, financial a, a huge abundance was very important, because I experienced a lot of lack and fear around money when I was growing up. There was a lot of lack. My parents had to remortgage the house a cajillion times. Like we had a lot of lack around money. There were, bankruptcies in the family. I felt very unstable. So for me, money was actually a big motivator why I got into all of this work. But now, after
Yeah.
creating all of this, I've realized it also isn't everything. Like, yes,
Mhm.
money is amazing, but you're also, you can create this amazing life with just a beautiful, glorious, delicious life with love and happiness and friends, and just enough to live the life you want to live. So every single person's clarity of what their future self life has will be different. I'm sharing mine, but we have people that have used activations that really don't care as much about that. They care about other things. They care about their relationship with themselves. They care about the relationship they have with others, helping, the world in different ways. So everyone will have their why. And I just wanted to kind of reiterate that, because sometimes I feel a bit weird talking about, like where this transformation that I've had financially. And I want to make sure that everyone realizes that, like, whatever you want, you can have. It doesn't, but you
Yeah.
don't need to want the same things that other people want.
Totally. Well, I love money and talking about money on here. So
Okay. Well, everyone can know who we're talking to.
everyone who wants just a shitload of money is welcome on this podcast. I have the same background. My parents went bankrupt. My husband and I lost our homes, lost our cars. We were $300,000 in debt. It became very clear to me that it was my duty to learn how to make a ton of money and share with how I could do that. And also, everyone is, just like you said, everyone is also welcome. I have so many friends who are like, you know what? I'm so happy now that I'm making less money and that my family life is just, I'm like way more
Yeah.
in it. I get
Yeah.
that. I get that. And I can't say I'll be here forever. I might be in a totally different place in 5 years. I have no clue. I just know we all have different purposes, such different purposes at different times in our life,
Yeah.
and we can have multiple purposes. So I love that. And your app is so inclusive of that. Let's touch, you've already touched a lot on the science actually, but is there anything that you're like, I literally have to share this because it was crazy when I learned it?
Oh, okay. So I'm kind of obsessed with this, and you're gonna love this too. I've gone through phases over the past decade of like going into, I started with the Jack Canfields of the world, like love him, the basics, the principles, the fundamentals, very easy to
Yep.
read, feel good, bite-sized personal development. Then I got into the Joe Dispenza's a bit more spiritual, and then I got into, I went through before the Joe Dispenza phase, I went through a big Tony Robbins phase, and I've literally gone through all the phases. But
We're
now,
living the same life, by the way. It's great.
well, we are very connected, I guess, without even realizing
Yeah.
it. Well, I'm excited to introduce you to our mutual next phase now.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let's go.
Have you heard of the Russian quantum physicist Vadim Zeland?
No. So please,
Okay.
let's go.
Let's go. So basically, he wrote a book called Reality Transurfing. It is literally like this thick for everyone listening on audio. I am holding my hands like very wide right now, like the biggest book in the world. And it was translated from Russian to English.
Wow.
And you cannot find him anywhere. He's not online. He's just like in Russia somewhere, living in a completely different universe, but like literally has the codes to quantum physics, these quantum physics theories that he has proven to be true, in his own life and his work. And so quantum physics, there are unlimited theories, right? There's so many things that we don't know because we are very simple humans still at this point in evolution. And we, don't even, there's so many things in quantum physics that confuses the world, right? Like people don't understand so many of these theories, like why certain things happen. And this is where you see like particles are attracted by like particles. And, you see when you observe a particle, it behaves differently. There are certain things that are just very strange. And also you can't just like delete energy. So energy has to transfer somewhere. That's why a lot of people think that there is an afterlife after death, because how can your energy, your soul, like just disappear? Like it has to transition, right? So there are a lot of people, that have created theories based on what they found, because quantum physics is still pretty up in the air. Anyway, I'm obsessed with this guy, Vadim Zeland's theory on how to manifest and create the life that you desire with quantum physics. It's basically his version of how the world works. We all think the world works in one way. He thinks it works in another way based on this quantum physics theory. And I have seen so many similarities to what he teaches, to what Dr. Joe teaches, to what Jack Canfield teaches, to what, Tony Robbins teaches, to what all of these, big names in personal development. There's so many commonalities, just like I was talking before about how, Christians will call it prayer, atheists will call it placebo effect. It's all the, the same thing in different words, right? So anyway, there is something in Vadim Zeland's book. He calls them lifelines. So essentially, he states that there are unlimited parallel realities / lifelines that exist at any given moment. Okay. In any given moment, there are unlimited realities. So there is a lifeline where you and I are in person doing this podcast. There is a lifeline where I have blonde hair and you have brown hair. There is a lifeline where you're married to Brad Pitt. Like there is literally a lifeline. Any possibility in the entire world that you could ever imagine exists at any given moment, and past and present and future all exist at the same time. Anyway, so going back to the lifeline theory, timeline, lifeline, some people call it quantum jumping. Anyway, he just calls them lifelines. And what I have interpreted from his work is that you can essentially select the lifeline that you want to live in any moment with a snap of a finger. And you can select it by connecting your energy with it, by elevating your frequency to match the very specific frequency of that lifeline that you desire. And I have seen firsthand how I've actually experienced jumping from lifeline to lifeline. I don't want to get too woo-woo here, because listen, I'm a little woo, like I'm a little spiritual, but I'm very grounded in like the pragmatic approach. Like I like proof, I like the science. So a part of me does obviously like to explore other options, but I have firsthand experienced this, and I've done it 3 times with like the same activation on the app. The first time was when I was approving it after it was created by my audio engineers, and I was listening to it while I was walking, and I literally shifted lifelines, and I felt everything looked different, colors looked different around me. And ever since those specific moments in the past, let's say year, I've done it 3 or 4 times. It was always while listening to a walking activation
Mhm.
specifically. And I can tell you which one. So one of the ones that I was just referring to when I was walking and approving it, it's called Embody Magnetic Manifestation Energy. That one on the app, I think it's an anytime or a walking activation. And so that was one of them. And then the other ones that I've had shifted lifelines with, I don't know if you've tried the targeted visualization category. There's one there's a whole manifest money, like specific visualization category. If you go to the explore page, then targeted visualizations, go to the manifest money category, and you can see here, like there is literally manifest everything from $1,000 all the way to $100 million and everything in between. So 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, blah, 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 going up to 100 million. So have been listening to these. This is my new kind of recent hyperfixation on the app because I go through phases where I just listen to the same one 1,000 times and I'm sick of it.
Mhm.
But essentially, the manifest specific amount of money ones, I've shifted lifelines with so many times. Like I genuinely feel and everything around me looks so different. And I've heard from other users too that they have felt the same when they know about Vidim's work. Anyway, so the shifting lifelines thing, it's crazy because he states that, to select that, you need to move towards your desires and use, it's like the law of assumption, expect it to happen.
Mhm.
Be so rooted in this new self image that you just expect it to happen. And a lot of his work is pretty complicated. Like it's kind of hard to understand. And the book is so big and it's translated from Russian. A lot of the work I've actually, in my own way, I've explained in my book, Activate Your Future Self. So for everyone listening, go buy Vadim's book for sure. But if you want something that you can also read that's a bit more tangible, that maybe says it in a way that's a bit more Western, that you could probably understand a bit more, check out my book, Activate Your Future Self. But anyway, it was just so fascinating because he's my new, like his work is so complex and so interesting. And it just really confirms everything that I've learned in every other kind of area over the years.
This makes so much sense to me because I'm thinking about if you can't go into the scenarios where, like, truly what you're saying, like jumping lifelines, that's what they're called, right? Like lifeline
Yeah.
or timelines, like a lot of people call it. Then being able to imagine yourself doing it, I believe, is the same. So for everybody who watches Chris and I's life, we kind of swear by these. We just have never titled it like jumping lifelines, but
Yeah.
like getting in the rooms. And if you can't get in the rooms, which I couldn't do in the beginning, I couldn't afford it, meaning getting in the rooms like masterminds or getting to hang out with people who have the life that you want. I literally recently got to go spend a weekend with someone whose life literally blew my mind. Like I came back so different from one weekend, meaning I feel like I jumped literally like 10 quote unquote lifelines. So if you can't do that yet, which by the way, if you do these things, you'll get to a place where you are physically in their presence, where it can amplify it as well, then you need to be listening to it and you need to be picturing it and you need to feel it so much that that's how that's going to happen. The only reason it happened for me is because I let myself in the weekend feel it tangibly and picture myself also in that life as well and really experience it. So you guys, the beginning phase of getting those experiences is imagining these experiences and trying to make them as real in your body as possible, which is what this entire app is about, is trying to keep you in that frequency more and more and more and more throughout the day. So my last question for you, what do you do when you feel stuck?
Okay, so I didn't touch on this, but this is the whole third part of my book. It's called the maintaining category of my book. We have clarity, becoming, and maintaining as the third part. So the whole part of maintaining is having a quick bounce back rate. Okay,
Mhm.
so I coined this term bounce back rate years ago. This was, years and years ago. And essentially, I realized that to create your dream life, it's not about perfection. I've never had one perfect day where I woke up at 5 a.m. and didn't procrastinate and had my green juice and ate organic and didn't mindlessly scroll on social media and was perfect. Like the perfection doesn't exist. Okay. So I remember the beginning of my journey. I would be so tough on myself if I just slipped up a tiny bit that I would actually just ruin my progress for a week or two or months, until I bounced back to feeling good again, to feeling my best self again. And then I realized that there is no human being on earth that ever is perfect.
Mm.
The beautiful, successful people that we see on, the front of magazine covers, like they didn't get where they are by being perfect. They got to where they are by having a quick bounce
Mhm.
back rate, you know? And,
Mhm.
whether it's the health and body aesthetics that you're looking for, if you have a cookie, it's no big deal. But if you have the whole box because you've shamed yourself and you think that you're going to restart on Monday, because as humans, we have this penchant for clean slates and it really, really ruins us, then you're going to be so much farther behind. And
Mhm.
so I realized that it wasn't about perfection, it was about a quick bounce back rate. Because if you focus on your bounce back rate, you're going to bounce back real fast. If you focus on perfection, you're going to feel like you are stuck and frozen until you find your next moment of inspiration or the next Monday or the first of the month. So you
Mhm.
need to focus on your bounce back rate, on how quickly you can bounce back after falling off the bandwagon and feeling like your best self. And
Mhm.
when I first started my journey, it would take me months to bounce back. But now it happens in seconds because I know perfection's not the goal. It's a quick bounce back rate.
Oh my God. Amen. My husband and I, we call it a comeback rate, and we talk to all of our entrepreneurs about it because it's like that is the most important in sports and fitness. The comeback rate is about, they always say in sports, they say, you never look back, like it's what's the next play. So when
Yeah.
you fail, they don't even focus on the failure unless they're analyzing it for data to get better later. When you're in the game, which that's what we're in, you say, next, what's the next play? What's the
Yeah.
next play? Like there isn't even a moment where you think about the past. I analyze this with my husband all the time because he loves football. And you'll be watching a rookie and they'll mess up and they'll get stuck because they're thinking about how they
Yeah.
screwed up in the last play. And
Yeah.
you'll watch a really seasoned athlete and they just clap their hands and they rally the team around and they don't care that they just failed. They
Yeah.
don't get stuck there. Like I love watching sports to see who's in their head and who's got that, who's like you said, the bounce back, like who's
Yeah.
only focused on how fast are they going to come back from what just
Yeah.
happened? You guys, vital. I'm so obsessed with this. Okay. So, any last words?
If you're listening right now and you want to change your life, focus on your self image, focus on becoming your future self in everyday moments. It doesn't need to be this complicated, hard thing to change an aspect or every aspect of your life. You can really simplify it down and do what actually works, which is changing your energy, changing your self image by doing things like journaling, like listening to activations, like connecting with yourself and getting out of these numbing patterns of over scrolling on social media, getting out of distraction and focusing for just a moment on your future. You can create it. If I can, anyone can. And you live one life. So you might as well create the most beautiful life possible because what the work you
Mhm.
put in now, you're going to reap the benefits tenfold later. I'm a big believer in the investor's mentality towards life, not just investing in the stock market, but investing in every aspect of your life, doing and committing now, and just taking that next step, voting for your future self. And if you've been convinced over this episode to try activations, I urge you to. We offer a 2-week free trial and a money back guarantee. So even if you forget to cancel and you hate it, you'll get your money back. I'm not here just to take money and run. I really just genuinely know that this product will change your life and you can take advantage of the 2-week free trial. We wanted it to be 2 whole weeks because in 2 weeks you can see a massive change in your life. So if it doesn't make you feel different in 2 weeks, just cancel it. But I know that if you stay committed to it, you will actually feel a huge difference, and not just feel a difference, you're going to see a difference physically in your life, materially in your life. And if you want to use Lori's link, you can just go to activations.com/happy. And on there, you can actually see Lori's top 5 activations. The team's going to put that together on the website. So you can see which ones are her favorite. You can get the 2-week free trial and you can sign up with a massive discount on the yearly subscription. So all I'll say is try it out and you might really change your life.
Mimi, I'm so grateful. You guys, everything is down below. So we made it super, super easy for real. If you guys have listened to my podcast for the 8 years it's been on, you know that this is exactly the stuff that I swear by. And now we have a tool with pretty much any scenario that you can possibly think of is on there that you're trying to imagine or work through. I mean, whether it's, public speaking, whether it's creating a certain dollar amount, like it is so specific, you guys. You're going to love it. Mimi, you're incredible. I'm so grateful to you. And I love your passion. I love your energy. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Lori. I really appreciate you having me on.
Yes, you guys go make sure you download it, at least give the 2-week trial a shot and go give her a follow as well. So, until next time, everyone, earn your happy. Bye bye.